Festival, benvenuti. Siamo qui con una grande amica del festival e della Sardegna perché è già stata qui, è tornata volentieri. We are here with a good friend of the Sardegna Festival. Thank you for being here again. Vincitrice di un Oscar, Academy Award winner, Patricia Arquette.
Thank you so much.
So, Patricia, before starting talking about your acting career, I'd like to start with your debut in directing a movie, Gonzo Girl, your first direction. So, how was it? Tell us about the adventure of making your first film as a director.
Well, for me, being an actor, acting is really my first love. And I wanted to direct because I really wanted to make a movie where I felt that the acting was first and foremost, and I could edit to the acting. It was a very humbling experience directing, even though I felt that I'd had a lot of experience in film. There's so many different ways to learn about film and all of the different departments when you're working on a budget and you're working very quickly, and all of the responsibility at the end of the day ends up with the director. And while I felt very strong about my opinions about the acting and making space for the acting, I recognized how much I had to learn as far as the technical aspect.
And maybe you also have great inspiring masters, all the masters you work with, Richard Linklater and Scorsese and all the great directors you work with. Did you steal something from all of them? Which was the things that you learned and the first rule you learned from them in directing a movie?
Can I ask, how many of you want to be directors?
Quanti di voi vogliono fare i registi? Alzate la mano alta. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
3.
Well, for me, having the opportunity to work with all these incredible filmmakers in my career, they each taught me a different thing. And they were all very generous about cinema, the history of cinema, and how they approach different things. What I found in my own experience was that the best filmmakers that I'd worked with really made this space for the acting, and they supported the acting. And even if they didn't understand a choice you were making, once you explained it to them, they made the space to capture that. So I tried to give that to my actors. I thought that the acting part would come the easiest, but in truth, my two leads, she was very young, Cami Maroney, and then I had Willem Dafoe. And their processes were completely opposite. And in a weird way, so were their characters. What she's going through in her life, this discovery, and what he's going through in his life, this inner struggle and avoidance. So it was really interesting to see their different processes, but I feel I learned so much from these master filmmakers that I worked with. But I also saw my lack because I'd seen people who were so incredible at what they did.
What kind of filmmaker are you? Do you with actors? What's your style in explaining the scenes? Do you, of course, you're an actor, so do you feel like it's better to show them how to do it, or do you feel them completely free and then after an improvisation you choose what's better for the scene?
Well, I think actors have very strong opinions about a director showing them what to do. They either really like this or they cannot stand this. So this isn't something that I would originally lead with. But there were a few times where this young actress was like, show me, give me a line reading. I want to see how would you do it. But in general, that's not the way that I approach things. I give the actors the space to bring what they want. Sometimes I disagree with the script, or I'll find that when they're doing it, the script doesn't make sense with what they're doing. The script is forcing something on the moment that didn't make sense. There were a lot of times with my young actress, she'd say like, well, it says in the script I'm supposed to pick this up here. And I'd say, fuck the script. You know, when do you not want to look at him anymore? When do you feel like avoiding him? When are you lying about something? That's when you pick something up. When you don't want someone to see what is happening, or you want to avoid a moment, or you're getting too angry inside. It's not just an arbitrary thing in this particular scene. So, you have to have a little bit of facility, I think. And when you have a lot of years of experience, you acquire that. But usually I would just let the actors kind of bring what they brought. And then I would take moments to challenge them to try different things, to explore different sides of the character that maybe they're not comfortable with, or maybe they're not comfortable with that emotion in their own selves.
And I'm curious to know, when you're a director, you also have to deal with something you didn't have to deal when you just act. You have to deal with preparing the film, so maybe finding the budget, which is sometimes hard, and then the prompts, the scenes, the art direction. You have to deal with a lot of stuff because you're really the god who's in charge of everything. So what's that like? What kind of filmmaker are you in this? Are you obsessive in? Or you like to cooperate with the other professionals? What kind of?
Well, part of it, I think, when I was very little, we grew up very poor, but very artistic. So we had to make things out of very little. And when you work on a smaller budget film, I brought that spirit of invention with me. So I worked very closely with different departments on set dressing or whatever it was. We had an incredible set designer, Stefanik, and she did an amazing job. But I would bring a lot of things to create sort of practical special effects, because we didn't really have a lot of money for special effects. And wardrobe, I brought a lot of wardrobe, and I shopped for a lot of wardrobe also, because I think, particularly for Willem's character, the wardrobe was so essentially a part of him. There had to be a humor, but not. There had to be a youthfulness, but not. There had to be a history, all of these kind of different aspects. So I like to participate in a lot of those things, really.
I would like you to tell us about an incredible adventure of your career, which was Boyhood, which is a movie that took place within 12 years. It's something that never happened, just happened once. And there is a German documentary that did the same thing with the children, following them growing up in school. So Boyhood is an amazing project by an amazing filmmaker, Richard Linklater. I would like you to tell us the first time he told you about the project. Which was your reaction?
So yes, this is a very strange kind of film because, films are a product and somebody invests in them, especially in America. There's no support for the arts from the government. So people want their investment back as soon as they can get it and to make money on it. So the idea of shooting a week a year for 12 years, to watch a little boy in his family and have him grow up, go through school and graduate, was a very strange idea and almost unimaginable that it could ever get funded. And so we would go back every week and have this experience of making this little thing about a human family and a child growing up and his sister and their relationship and what that is. When Rick first called me, he said, "What are you doing for the next 12 years?" And I said, probably trying to get a job and acting and doing what I'm doing now. "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm thinking of making this movie that we shoot a week a year for 12 years. And I got so excited, my whole body, like every cell of my body was like, oh, yes. And I said, "I don't know how you got this funded, but are you calling me to see if I want to participate?" And I was so hopeful, And he said, "Yeah, I was wondering if you'd be interested." And I was like, "Yeah, I want to do it." And then I thought, oh, what's my part? What's the story? What is it? But I trust myself as an artist, my gut. You know, it's the same thing that gets you through life and every choice that you make that's important in your life. It was one of those moments where your whole body just goes, yes.
It's, of course, it's an independent project. It's a very special project. And as you said, it's very difficult in the US, in the industry, in the film industry, finding someone trusting such a project. But someone did, and at the end, the project was so beautiful, the result was so perfect that entered officially the Academy Award, and you won the Oscar. I mean, it's been accepted by the Academy. So maybe sometimes the Academy and the mainstream industry should learn something about the independent filmmaking, because that's the real fresh air they should look at when they look for something new. That's the importance of independent filmmaking, and this is something, a pursuit that you followed all your life. You always look for special project, new project, something that never been done before. That's something important in your life. Is it? Do you agree with this?
I do. I completely agree with you. And I think Richard Linklater is one of those American filmmakers who exemplifies this kind of journey as an artist into different aspects of storytelling. And ironically, when you talk about the Academy, many times it's these different small films that rise to the top. And are nominated for things because they are original filmmakers. And it's gotten harder and harder in Hollywood, I think, for those filmmakers to be able to come up, to have a voice, to get funded. You know, now it's much more about television and streaming and long form and all these sort of things, which of course has its place. But I think it's very interesting and important to support these other kinds of films. And frankly, Europe does a much better job of it than America. I think there's still some kind of a barrier with foreign films accessing the American public, which is really unfortunate because some of the greatest films, you know, come out of Europe.
A year has passed more or less since the strike ended. If you have to say something about this experience, this fight, this huge fight, 1 year after, do you think that can you judge positively the results? What do you think?
Well, you're all so young, and I feel like, you know, the Guild, the Actors Guild, and the filmmaking community became very aware of how AI was going to impact every aspect. Like, you know, our set designer is going to be gone with a few prompts. All of our gaffers and lighting department, the actors, the sound design, the cinematographers at a certain point, and every aspect of it. So I think there's certain people that were in the Guild that were very aware this was going to really be an issue very quickly. And other people that didn't want to deal with it or felt like it was far away. And it's very strange to be creating this thing. I mean, painters are becoming obsolete in this way, or there's a threat of obsolescence. It's strange that to create something when we still have cancer, we still have war, we still have these pivotal things, people still need therapy, that the AI is first going towards the arts, which is kind of a statement that we value and want to express ourselves, and we need the arts. But it is a very intense moment of how is this going to work out? Will cinema, as we know it, be a thing of the past very soon? You know, it's possible. Who knows what's happening exactly? But I also think that some young people will be able to make films that they never could have before. So we don't know what will come that could be beautiful out of this process. Like everything humans have any part of, it will be beautiful and ugly.
We have 5 more minutes. I'd like you to make some questions to Patricia. If we have the mics ready.
How do you all feel about AI?
That's a question from Patricia to you. How you feel like, okay, trovate che sia una minaccia l'intelligenza artificiale per il mondo dell'arte? Se avete un'idea in proposito. Nessuno?
Do you think it will be good? If you think it's good, raise your hand.
Se pensate che l'impatto possa essere positivo, alzate la mano. Chi pensa che possa essere positivo, che ha un'idea? Dite.
There's a few people like, some good and some bad. But nobody's really that excited. I think it's a little bit of a scary time for young people, especially.
Maybe they and as myself, we don't have very clear what's going to happen. It's very difficult to forecast
Yes.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because we don't know the potential of what's the real potential of this brand new thing. So there is another thing we've also be scared of, which is the small screen, the television. But now the television is helping cinema. Because,
yeah, it's true.
Because everyone, all the professionals working in scriptwriters and set decorators working in cinema are also working for TV series.
Yes.
So, nobody could imagine this, but now television it's a very high level, and so we don't. We have a completely different idea of what is going to be the small screen. Some years ago was the opposite. We thought it was a menace.
Yes, but there was a golden age of television before, too, with live TV, Playhouse 90, Twilight Zone, the original, and now we're at another point. And yeah, there's a lot of garbage or not very interesting, well thought out TV, but then there's also incredible TV. So it feels like everything's moving this way of opposing options. Everything is good and bad.
Yeah, my last question is for you: you grew up in a family full of cinema, full of actors, full of art. What's your advice to the students that are going to be actors or working in cinema, professionals in cinema? What's your advice, especially to actors?
I think study, watch great performances throughout time, even older material. I think you have an option here in Europe to help get funding from, different countries throughout Europe. So I think studying what are different kind of economic models and how you could put together different funding aspects. We don't have this in America, and it's quite a wonderful thing. Oftentimes we think, we're just an artist. You give up a lot of power when you're only developing the aspect of yourself as an artist. I think it's good to also develop the part of you as a business person, because the crazy thing right now, because everything's moving so quickly, even in America, people don't really know what the new business model is going to be. And this is an area where you guys could be on the cutting edge of figuring out the business model. And also, there are a lot of good little films made all over the world, but what they cannot figure out is the whole distribution model. So there's a business element to film too, that people, I don't want to be an actor. I don't know exactly what I want to do. The producing part, developing material, finding great stories or developing great stories with your friends. Actors can do this too. There may not be a part that comes to you, but you and your friends can create a part, create a story. And the great thing about technology is you can actually film it now affordably. So there's a kind of great pendulum swinging of capacity to make these things.
During this chat, it happened. You talked twice of your love for European cinema, artistically and also in the business model. Can you tell us a couple of movies that stand deep in your heart from Europe, from any European director you particularly love?
La Ventura was a very important movie to me. Antonioni, like, when I first saw that movie, I just started weeping, and I just didn't know why. Even like this, whatever that emotion, I can even feel it in my body right now, just thinking about it. It was like a revelation, you know, and then great performances, like, if I think about, like, now I'm spacing on the name of the movie, but Sophia Loren, I think it was called A Beautiful Day.
No, maybe Una giornata particolare, yeah.
Maybe they live
Sofia
in an
Loren, Marcello
apartment.
Mastroianni.
Oh my God. This movie is incredible movie, and she's incredible, and he's incredible. And the cinematography, and I mean, honestly, obviously Fellini, you know, you can't go wrong, but there's so many wonderful filmmakers now. It's powerful.
Please notice, I asked Patricia to name 2 European movies in her heart, and she named 2 Italian movies. So be proud of Italian cinematography, guys, please. Thank you very much, Patricia. I would like you to say hello to the students following us on the internet, because we are on streaming now.
Yes. Hello.
And thank you very much. Grazie a voi per averci seguito. Patricia Arquette.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.